Hello everyone, welcome back to Shred Guitar in the 80s. I thought it'd be fun to cover a few different topics today. We're going to start out with some arpeggios. I've been doing a lot of videos on here and I've not really done any arpeggios yet. So I thought it'd be fun to do some, maybe as it relates to kind of harmonic minor. We're going to go A minor, play an A minor triad over that, to E major or E7, and play diminished over that. And basically we're going to jump back and forth between the two, and it's a great exercise to kind of see where your diminished arpeggios lie in relation with your minor arpeggios and the harmonic minor scale. So we get this, slow. So basically what we're doing is just some Yngwie Malmsteen style 3-string arpeggios. We're going to start out with an upstroke and pull off 17 to 12 on the first string. Then with our second finger we'll play 13 with an upstroke on the second. And then we'll go down on 14 on the third string to kind of end the triad. So we get up, pull off, up, down. And then that down will just start to sweep back. So we get... And then we're going to go to a diminished arpeggio, which is 13 pull off to 10, 12 on the second string, to 13 on the third. And then we're going to play A minor again in the 8th position, so we get 12 pull off to 8, 10 on the second, 9 on the third. And then we're going to go back to the diminished arpeggio again, and this time we're going to play 10 pull off to 7 on the first, 9 on the second, 10 on the third. Then we're going to go to the A minor again, but this time at the 5th position we're going to pull off 8 to 5, 5 on the second, 5 on the third. Then we're going to go to the diminished again at the 4th position, 7 pull off to 4, 6 on the second, 7 on the third. And then we'll end with 5. So we get this. It has a fun sound, very neoclassical, very Yngwie Malmsteen, and we're just switching between A minor and the diminished arpeggios. So I was going through my collection of books and magazines that I've had in boxes forever, and I came across this release that I forgot I bought, and I filed it away, and it's probably been 15 years since I've looked at it. And it was released by Young Guitar Magazine. It's of Chris Impellitteri. And Chris is just an astonishing player, just amazing. The early EP put out, the black EP that just is called Impellitteri, that I always thought was cool. It came out on Polytour Records, not Polydor, and I know he's a Ritchie Blackmore fan, so it's probably a little tip of the hat to Ritchie with that. And then he put out the Stand in Line album with Graham Bonnet, which is just another amazing album, chock full of killer songs. This book is really, really amazing. I mean, it's got killer transcriptions, all sorts of licks, great photos. Young Guitar Magazine was a magazine that was always on my radar, but being in Japan, being released in Japan, I never really got to see a lot here in the States. But, the stuff that I have from them is so in-depth and amazing in the transcriptions. I mean, it shows his amp setups, amp and effect setup, and, all sorts of cool pictures. There's a picture of Graham and Chris. But, and the transcriptions are great, and it came with a CD that I believe is Chris. He must have did it for them. It's pretty, the playing's amazing. It has to be. Some of the songs on here are Walk Away, Power of Love, Stand in Line, which is one of my favorite Impellitteri songs. I just love that song. The Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which is another great track from the Stand in Line album. And then there's all sorts of cool like licks and chord progressions and picking exercises and hammer and pull off stuff, and just amazing. And I'm looking forward to busting this open and trying some of this stuff, so you might see some of this in the future videos that I do. But I thought I would share it with you. Chris is an awesome player and always inspiring to listen to. So, young guitar, Chris Impellitteri. One thing I always like to do when I'm playing these licks that are position changes is I like to just do it in terms of improvising. And one thing I've always done is just over a backing track. I've never really practiced to a metronome, sat down, just notch the metronome up. I do a lot of metronome practice now, but it's more phrasing off it, and I just kind of use it to practice different tempos. And I always tap my foot to the metronome when I do that. But you know, improvising is a great way to find licks and do stuff. So for me, that's how I always did it. I'd put down a chord progression, I kind of know a scale, kind of worked up some licks on my own, and then I would just take those over a chord progression and just see what I could do in real time. And a lot of times you might work a lick up, but it never fits in your improvisation. So it's great to kind of see what works and what doesn't. So if you're trying some of these licks, definitely try them over some chord progressions, and you know, and tape everything too. I always taped everything I did. Even to this day, I tape everything and listen back, and it's right there. It doesn't lie, and it's really made me a better player. And I've always tried to play super clean without any noise and articulate. And believe me, I've heard enough of myself to know when I'm doing that and when I'm not, because I've listened to so many recordings of myself that it really, you know, helps steer me in the right direction. So I really encourage you to do that also. Today's album pick isn't actually an album, it's more of an EP. And it was something that Yngwie released right before the Marching Out album came out. And it has a studio version of I'll See the Light Tonight, which it could be edited slightly, a little bit of a different edit on that. But the amazing thing about this is it has 2 live tracks, Far Beyond the Sun and I'm a Viking. And he also does a little bit of Adagio before. He used to play that before I'm a Viking back then. And this was recorded on the Japan tour in January of '85. And it's just amazing. These are 2 of my favorite live tracks from Yngwie. And the solo in I'm a Viking has always been one of my favorite solos. And the tone is just amazing. And his guitar's up in the mix. You can just hear that pick hitting the string. It's got that attack. Just brilliant playing. It's so soulful. And the version of Far Beyond the Sun on this is mind-blowing also. And back in the day, he was playing it more like the album, so he's doing a lot of the themes from the song that he doesn't necessarily do now. But it's a wonderful version. I'm not sure if these are the same versions that appeared on the VHS tape that they would release a few years later. I never really compared them, but I just know that these 2 live tracks are amazing. I loved Yngwie's tone back then. It was really piercing but clean and warm. It was just amazing. His articulation, you can hear everything. His vibrato. Young Yngwie was on fire. It's just amazing. I'll See the Light Tonight. That went on to become a classic Yngwie track. But it's a lot of fun to look back and listen to some of this. I threw this on the other day and just was instantly brought back to that time period and how amazing those live versions are, and just how mind-blowing it was for me to hear that stuff back then, to wonder how he was doing that. You know, those notes, the arpeggios, or all that he did back then were new. It was blowing everyone's mind. It's just hard to put it in perspective now. You go on YouTube, there's guys playing 1,000,000 miles an hour. But that touch, tone, finesse, and phrasing is still just one of the most beautiful things in terms of guitar playing and rock music, I believe. So Yngwie is an amazing player, and it's a lot of fun to listen back to this. So I thought I would share it with you today. I really appreciate everyone watching. I really appreciate all the likes and comments and everyone who's subscribed to my channel. It's pretty amazing. I'm having a blast doing this, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more and covering a lot of different players and doing it for a long time. I just can't tell you how much I'm enjoying it and how much I enjoy hearing from all of you. And if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do. So thanks a lot for hanging out with me. Until I see you again, have fun picking.